fucking red button.
Red button. It's hit.
It means we're rolling. We turn this on.
Yeah, we can cuss too. My mom doesn't like it, but we can cuss if we want to.
I'm not real good.
She tells me I cuss too much. Trying to be like Reed.
I'll be damned.
Are we recording, Donnie?
We're recording, Jack, and this Jack got a horrible habit, Dickie, of making this whole thing about himself.
I don't care.
It's no, everybody else cares. It's not Jack's show.
Yeah, but it's
your show. No. You're on the show. You're our guest. Jack tries to make the show about him and not let the guests talk.
Yeah, but he's good at it.
All right, you want to introduce your guest? You used to work for him.
Yeah, Capt Dickie Harris, Fintastic Charters.
And we have somebody that's actual veteran.
A veteran, yeah.
Real veteran.
One of the legends. This is we're starting our old timer section, right? All right. You said that on the radio. You're an old timer now.
I've fallen into the old timer.
How long do you have to fish out of the fishing center before you're part of the old timer crew?
25 years.
Because I'm still not. No.
You're close.
But everybody else has still been doing it longer than me.
Yeah, everybody's been down there. A lot of people have been there for a while now.
I can't believe how old
you look at. Yeah, I am old.
Yeah, how old
when you think about it, you do.
Seriously, when I was learning to fish offshore, you were already a veteran.
Well, I wasn't an old timer because there were still old timers around, but now the old timers, if I give the prayer in the morning and we say, well, we don't want to forget the old timers, and I kind of look around and I say, I am the old timer.
How long you been fishing out in the marine?
45 years.
Running a rig for 45 years?
8 years mating and the rest of it being the captain. Started out with somebody taking me, let me have their boat to fish, and then got my own boat. And
what legends did you mate for?
Well, I started with Lee Perry,
I was going to ask,
everybody always started, but you didn't ever finish with him. I made it 2 months, and I couldn't. I just had to go. He's a character. I won't say anything bad about him because he was a great fisherman. Nobody wanted to catch fish more than Lee Perry. What a good. Good fisherman.
I was going to ask you if you fished for him. I didn't know him. That was before
he was. I love the old stories about him.
They make great stories. He had some good ones. There was many a tale told by every mate that came through that worked for him had a different story, at least a good one. So that's a good start. And then I started with Lee, and then I made a big jump then because in the 1st of June, Bob Sullivan had his new boat.
Wow.
I had to go work for him 2 weeks before we got the boat in the water and got to go to fishing. And that was 2 years learning experience. I didn't learn anything. Bob's a great guy. He was fun to fish with. We even wrestled in the cockpit one time. The party freaked out because we got down there and played all-star wrestling.
Oh.
Boats just wandering off.
I worked for a guy that we wrestled once, and he wasn't friendly wrestling.
I've been lucky. Then Big Alan Foreman. I worked for him 1 year, and he was going to make the transition to Pirates Cove, where he bought that. And he said, "Do you want to run the boat? Go get your license." Holy cow! 2 years or 3 years, and I'm going to be running a boat. I'll try it, And I went over there. I made every mistake that you could possibly make running a boat when I ran that boat that summer. But we had a good summer. There were a lot of fish back then. Not many boats fishing, and but Big Al trusted me with the boat. And that fall when they sold it was a sad day because I had to go back and work in the cockpit again. Because you get up in that bridge from being down in the cockpit, it's amazing what you see. Yeah. From up there that you don't see from down below.
It makes you better, really.
Yeah, I think so too.
You get back in the cockpit, you're a better mate than what you were.
I agree, 100%.
You see, because you see everything. What I've learned is you see everything that needs to be happening that's not happening.
And we were talking the other day. We said, no mate will ever bail dolphin fast enough for a captain. It's just a fact.
No.
They can't bail them fast enough.
No.
So there's not been one mate that's been born that's fast enough or can see enough when they're bailing dolphin.
Was Jack worked for you
5 years?
And would you say he's probably the worst mate you ever had?
Emotionally,
You never had me.
Emotionally, yes.
Okay, because you never had me.
Physically, he was one of the best mates. He was probably the mate I have now, Carrie. He and Carrie are the best with people that you could ever ask for.
Oh yeah, Jack.
You know, they helped my business. Both of them helped my business.
I could hear Jack talking yesterday. I was fishing. He was surfing. I could hear him talking.
Well, he's
The
loud.
loudest motherfucker I've ever known.
He
I'm
fits.
deaf.
Yeah, he is. It was always, you know, you had to learn. He's got to be over here on the right. What are you standing over there for? I can't hear out of my right ear. But that's him, and he did. Jack did a great job. I'd like to tell a story later.
I'd like to hear all kinds of stories.
Oh, I've
about
got a
Jack.
couple. They're good stories.
No, I don't want good stories because you know what good stories do to him, Dickie? It does this. It does this. And next thing you know, me and you can't get out of the room because his head is so fucking big.
It's dummy stories.
All right.
We'll be a dummy.
I tried to get Frenzy. I finally think we got him to admit at the end of the episode that I was the worst mate he ever had. Didn't we?
Yeah,
I mean, I kept saying,
yeah.
Jake, just say it, Greg. Just
I
say
never
it.
knew you made it.
Yeah.
That's how famous you were when you were mating.
Yeah. No, I was infamy because I'm the one that slammed Glenn in the cockpit, flying fisherman Glenn. The last day when I walked off that rig.
You slammed him?
Yes.
Is that when you were back when you were drinking still?
I was, yeah, but I'm not drinking at 4 a.m.
I don't know.
It happened that early in the
Some
day?
do.
It happened, but when we got
You weren't doing a slam like Bobby and I were. You did a real slam.
No, it was a throat slam. The last day of it, I didn't make that. I didn't leave the dock that day.
Hey,
man.
well, interesting when you were talking about Big Al, because I think this is one of my favorite things about Dickie is they used to do bird watching stuff.
Oh, it was fun.
And he knows every freaking bird that flies by that boat.
We
Every single
killed
one,
so
he can
many
tell
of
you
them.
what it is.
I mean, we killed so many birds.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. What? Yeah, tell
that
about
was
that.
well. I had the first trip I went with the bird watching crowd. They bring this big case like a cooler full of shotgun shells, and I said, "Well, what are we going to do, Alan?" He said, "We're going to shoot some birds today." And you go out there and they just say, "All right, we need 40 of these birds, certain shearwater. We need 40 of them today. We got to have them because they take them back, mount them, and send them to other museums, so they can be displayed so people get to see them that never get to see these birds in the ocean."
So this was what, 70s, right?
Oh, yeah. I had a license at that time. Once Alan let me have the boat, I had a license that if I was 5 miles offshore, I could kill any bird out there. So, I mean, one day he wouldn't let me. Alan wouldn't let me take a mate because he didn't want to spend the money. He was Carrie's dad was mating for him. My mate now was my first mate. That's how long I've been in his.
Your
Carrie's
mate now's father was your mate.
was my very first mate on a boat. That tells you he got smart enough the first year to get out of it. But I went one day and we picked up 70 some birds, caught 7 white marlins. Lost the blue marlin at the boat because I didn't have anybody to wire it. So I got down there in the cockpit, and back then you had stations in the cockpit.
Uh-huh.
And it's backed up, and I ran back over the thing while I was running back to get the wire. But it was we averaged that for about the first, I don't know. They went probably 10 times that year, and we were shooting a lot of birds.
Were you chumming them?
Oh yeah, they brought out these big blocks of chicken guts from Raleigh, and you'd float them out there, and the petrels loved them. And you put it out there and go away and come back a half hour later to the area because you could see the slick forever because it was melting down. And you'd look and it'd be 2,000 petrels there. And he'd just take the boat upwind and drift down on them.
And you just start shooting.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, that crew from Norfolk's going to be giving us.
They might be. But
They'll be giving us a hard
they
time.
were all used. It wasn't like they threw them out. If you shot whatever you shot, got mounted.
Yeah, they were for museum. It was for museums.
It was all for the sake of art. Now, the fun, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to tell it anyway.
You can say
Sometimes
anything you want.
if they shot a tern, now turns, you shoot one and leave it on the water, the other turns will come to them. And so they do that, but they always wanted one that was crippled. And you get the net and you dip it up, and then they take it and shove that temperature probe up his butt. And you hear the so they could get a live temperature. You look back and say, how cruel was that? But it was funny back then.
It's still funny now.
It was funny.
Did you ever get a tropic bird?
We did. We killed, I think, 2 tropic birds. Alan was out there one time and they did see an albatross. I've never, out of all the trips we did, even in the wintertime, when you would see one. We saw man of war birds twice, and never saw one, Jack.
Where do you go to see an albatross? Where would you see an albatross? Are they up north? I guess
I don't know.
Greenland or something. I don't know.
I don't know where the albatross live.
I mean, there's a whole fleet of boats in Hatteras named
Called the
after them, and you don't ever see them.
Well, they were desperate for names at that point. Must have been at least 2 there because they got the albatross 1 and 2.
Yeah,
fleet, right?
yeah, maybe 3 now. I think they got 3 of them.
I don't know. Are they the candy stripe rigger boats?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
yep. Still fishing.
Yeah, I've never been on them.
And then after Big Al, it was Paul Spencer. Paul was not running boats. He had been mating, but he had gone to work in the boat shop, and Sheldon, his father-in-law, kind of wanted to get out of it a little bit, and Paul took over the boat, and I ran the boat for 2 years. He is the calmest. He's pretty calm too, but he was calm. Here I was just getting back into the mating really, and I had to mate again, and it's kind of like I had to take a step back down. But like you said, it made me a better mate for Paul. And we had some great times fishing, and back then they were just fish. You just didn't have, if the pie's the same, it's cut smaller because more boats. And we had some good, one story with Paul, and we never had, like I said, we never had a ill word between us, was that we looked over and we saw, it was the same day that he had brought some food from a Mormon party where they have a luncheon, and God, the food. Anyway, we were sitting up in the bridge, both of us up there, and we had us a big old plate, and then he breaks out, he had a whole lemon cake, and I believe we ate the whole thing, but Paul said, "What is that up there?" I said, "I don't know. It looks like a whole sheet of plywood." I said, "I guess I better get down in case it's dolphin." And we got up there, and it was the top end of a squid that was at least 4 by 4. It was a giant. I got it and gaffed it and put it in a bucket, and it was coming over the sides of the bucket, and that's how big it was. So
Dickie
I hit it.
You've done good.
But I've never seen anything like it since.
Giant squid.
Well,
Yeah,
remember that squid they caught in Hatteras this year?
I saw that.
Yeah.
It had to be the same thing.
Yeah. Did you hear about that?
No, tell.
Yeah.
Do tell.
A boat in Hatteras was swordfishing. They caught a 300-pound squid on their swordfish bait.
It was, they had that was made
that?
the pictures.
Is that nighttime thing? Daytime?
Daytime swordfishing.
Daytime sword fishing.
Yeah.
Y'all
And
do
It made the pit.
We should do it, but we don't do it. It's really boring.
It's real boring.
You just drop a bait down, you sit there.
Jack and I did it one night off of here, and I don't know that we had the best party to do it with, but
No.
and then it got rough as a cob, and
We just cracked a bit and said, sorry,
we just
guys.
quit after about 10 sharks.
I said, let's go home.
I don't think we ever got a shark to the boat. They
No,
bit us off.
we wanted to go home.
Matter of fact, has he fished with you?
Mm-mm.
I think.
Booked a couple days and canceled,
Well, that's typical.
which is fine.
It worked out. I put him off on Jack.
Special group.
Yeah, I had a special group the other day. I think I got scammed, and I'm not really sure because they're both like 80 years old. But I think I got scammed.
No kidding.
He called and booked the trip like 3 weeks ago. And then he called last week, and he said, "All right, I'm coming, this day." And I wrote it down. I texted him, "All right, just to confirm." And he got in town this week and said, "All right, I'm ready to go fishing." I said, "No, I've got you in the book for next week." I said, "Here's the text message." He said, "Oh man, I messed up. Can we go any day? Is there anything you got?" And I said, "Yeah, I got you this afternoon. We'll go." We get out there and we hit the drum right out the gate, the big drum.
That's awesome.
So kind of like I blew my wad 15 minutes into the trip.
Wasn't else anything to do.
And then like an hour later, the guy goes, "My brother's not feeling well." We're in the Sound, dude. It's so calm. It's not what I mean. He says you think maybe we can go in? I said, "Sure, if he's not feeling well. I don't need somebody 80-some years old going down on my boat. That's a whole nother headache." Get guys.
You're an EMT.
Yeah, but you get the guys next door involved, and that's the last thing you ever want is the guys with
No, you don't want
guys in the great
next door.
boats involved with anything. And we get back to the dock, and the guy said, "What do I owe you?" I said, "Well, price is, this." He said, "Well, can you give me a break maybe?" He said, "All right, how about this? I give him a price, because We've only fished a couple hours. He goes, well, I don't have that. I got this.
Well, how did you come fishing?
Exactly my point. And I got home and my wife said, you think he scammed you? And I started thinking about it. I go, I think I did get
Yeah,
scammed.
you got scammed.
You got reesed.
I did.
you got Reese.
I got Reese, man. It's
We get talking all this shit about Reese getting shorted all summer. It finally happened to
Two
you.
80-year-old guys aren't going to scam you.
No, you told them how much it was going to be.
Yeah, and then somehow I ended up making like 50% less than when I charged him.
You shouldn't go.
And no tip.
And no tip.
And less money and no tip.
No.
He only burned a gallon of gas.
Yeah,
he's fine.
It worked him bad.
Yeah.
No, but anyway,
That's a good story right
I
there.
mean, just you feel bad for them, and next thing you know, they
Take advantage of it.
did take advantage of me. And they're on a whirlwind tour, so they were going to every town north of Georgia. I think
That might have been what they were doing.
Yeah, they're going
We're
up
going to get some. We're going to do this
do a
up.
lot of fishing for half price.
Yeah, that's good.
You would have those groups over the years. I mean, we have them on our boat. I don't get tipped anymore, but
Not much.
The nice and very, very, very rarely do you get a bad tip. Would I get a bad tip on his boat? Any boat I ever worked on, or my mate now for that matter. But every once in a while, you got a group, and they come with you every year, and they're the nicest people
you know
in the
what's going
world,
to happen.
and they just always give you a shitty tip.
A low end tip.
You know, they always do, and you know, I mean, and you can't. They're so
I
nice.
can think of the two that you're talking about.
They're so nice, and it's so. I mean, it's like it's so.
And you
damn,
love them.
You love them, and when you average it out for your 7 days
Yeah.
of tips, it's like it's your 1 or 2
It's a
days.
blip.
You know, maybe 3 or 4 days of summer. Do you get less than 20%?
But that they're going to do that every
Every
and
single
I
time.
warn Carrie. But you can't turn them down because they're so nice.
And
Yeah,
if
they're
they've been
great.
with you, if they've been with you,
Sent me a baby
long time,
present.
Yeah,
you know,
you
some of
just-
them do.
you just suck it up,
Call
and it's better than not working today.
Yeah, hope they're not
I
watching.
mean, Al Barty used to say he used to get some horrible.
I think on that boat it
Yeah,
still happens.
And guys been fishing forever with them, and
They
Yeah.
just the same with it.
Well, and they might just never, you know, progress. You know, just
they didn't
progress
they
or.
didn't-
I mean, we've got it. You had it
I'm
signed.
not
I got
sure.
it signed.
The
Some
girl-
people don't know.
the girls up front now
they don't tell them.
They don't. Well,
No,
the girls know.
but they don't tell them.
No.
They don't. If they're on a phone trip, if they're called in and booked you on with a phone trip, request you, they don't tell them then. They
Yeah.
tell them if they come in and book that.
Well, God, the girls at the booking desk probably see those mates' checks and they go, "Holy
Yeah, they
shit!"
probably get bummed out.
The last thing all we need is
Got them a damn $1,000 check for one day or something like that. They're like, "God damn, we need to do this."
yeah. I'm sure.
Well, there's a couple up there I'd like to have.
I
They
think
get better.
I
They
think
get
if-
better
they
tips
get
than our
better
mates
tips.
would.
I think if Johnny and Cookie's daughter got in the cockpit, we'd all be hurt.
It is.
You wouldn't be making it.
I know that Bobby's daughter got good tips. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
So-
She killed it.
and she went hard too,
Yeah.
just
Good
like her
fishing.
dad.
Yeah. She learned from him. He's a worker.
You got any more? Give me another story before I go sell something.
What kind of story you want?
Tell me something that will shut him up.
No, I don't want to tell that one.
Was the time I dove in the water?
Well, I was
Tell
going
that.
to
I
tell
had to-
that one, but
I
I
had
was
to-
going to tell him about the day we caught 6 white marlin on the point.
Oh yeah, what did I do wrong that day?
Well, don't you remember on the way in you coming
Oh
up?
God, no, you can't tell that one.
Please, Dickie.
No, you can't tell that
No,
one.
that
What
might.
happened? Now you got what? You're
That's one they can all think about.
Yeah,
Can't they?
take that one to our grave. I will say it was bullshit that I didn't get mate of the year after that day we had.
Yeah,
we had
that was epic.
We had a limited dolphin, a dozen big yellowfins, and 6 or 7 white marlin in June one day.
Yep.
And
right
half
on the
the
point.
yellowfins were on topwater.
Yeah,
on the
right on the
popper.
right
You
on
would
the,
even
and
have
on the
fun.
point.
Yep.
You think I would have had fun?
Donnie's
Oh, that's my
material.
the kite and the popper are my 2 favorite ways to catch a tune.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to catch him on a popper?
That's
Yeah,
such a
definitely.
I'd
people
prefer
don't get to
I'd
enjoy
prefer
it as much.
I'd prefer
Yeah,
to
we
catch
get
him
to
within
gas.
sight of the bridge. That'd be what I would prefer to do, but,
Yep. He's
or fly me out there and drop me off.
yeah. I tell you, there's 2 times that he went overboard on my boat, and I'm like,
Well, I used to jump over to wash off.
that
the
didn't-
dolphins.
well, I like you go out dolphin fishing and you jump over and take your spear gun sometimes and shoot a dolphin or whatever. But one time it was hot. It was a July day. It was hot and the water was hot, and we caught a sailfish. Caught a real nice sailfish, a big sailfish. Most of them are about 25 pounds, 30 pounds. This was an honest 50, 60-pound sailfish. It looked like a Pacific sailfish. He was so big. And it took us so long to get him that he was completely worn out.
87
degree water. The fish flipped upside down when Jack let him go. And he said, well, you want me to go get him? And I said, whatever you want to do. And I thought he meant we'll back up and get it. Well, he goes, bloop. Jack goes over the side. He swims back to that sailfish, turns him upright, starts paddling along with him and holding him and getting him going. And after about 5 minutes, the fish swam off. He didn't become shark bait yet. I hope he didn't. But that was probably, that would have been 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And I've seen 2 great whites since I've been fishing. That's it. 30 minutes later, the biggest great white you ever wanted. I looked at it, it looked like a submarine coming at us, and I didn't think about it. It's a shark. And then that fin came up, and he jumped up in the bridge, and we kind of circled back around because he was, holy cow, it's a great white right
out
there.
in the middle of the Gulf Stream.
Right and he's out there swimming with it.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Didn't know it.
87 degree water. I mean, just clear as day right under the rigger. I mean,
You could not see.
he was 2,000 pounds.
He was one of the big ones. I mean, say he was one of the boys.
I've never seen one that big.
That's the other one I saw was about 12 foot. I got a good look at him, but that one was distinctive.
And heroes in the water.
The hero was in the water.
Revived that sailfish.
He did. Hopefully that one didn't get him. There he goes again.
The stories I want.
You want the ones where you want the one about that day we went and caught
Yeah,
seven
I want
white
him, the ones that he puts his head down and he can't.
He would put his head down for that one, but we got to let that one go this time.
All right, we got to sell something. We're Dickie. We are so big now that we have sponsors. Did
Cool.
you know that? Yeah, we have sponsors. You know who our sponsor is?
TW's Bait and Tackle.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Nag's Head.
Yep.
They're really good to us.
Yep, they are.
We had dinner the other night. You weren't there.
Oh, did you end up going?
We went dinner.
You didn't even tell
Well,
me.
just think about it. You didn't have him in there.
Well,
You
he
could
was
talk.
invited, but he
You
didn't
could
go.
talk.
No,
Yeah.
Donnie called me and canceled dinner, and then so I made dinner for my wonderful wife, and then he called me and said, well, I can make it now. I said, well, it's
That
too
was
late.
because I got in early because the guy scammed me.
Yeah.
That's the day the guy scammed me. I got in early. Yeah, we went to dinner. TW's Bait and Tackle. Anyway, he bought me dinner that night.
Oh, man, I wish I'd have been there.
Yeah, you blew it.
Indian?
No, they were closed. We got up there, they were closed. They closed at 6:30, so I had to come back down and went to Viva. He wanted to go to Single Fin, but I said Viva's fine with me, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
single fin's high dollar.
too many people. I
Yeah.
don't want to be
It's
there.
packed.
Yeah, I can't do it. Anyway, TW's Bait and Tackle. Be right back. Yeah, Donnie D from DOA and Misguided Fishing. Check it out. TW's got everything you need to catch all the fishes. The rods, the reels, string, baits, from all the guys that make that stuff. Shimano, Daiwa, Penn, St. Croix, Yoseria, Meat Hawk, etc., etc., etc. You want to look fly when you're doing all that catching? They got you covered with gear from Salty Crew, Pelagic, Extra Tough, and more. You got questions? Ask away. TW's is staffed by people who fish every chance they get. They got their finger on the pulse of Outer Banks fishing. I haven't even scratched the surface of this place. It's like a toy store for grown-ups. So check out TW's Bait and Tackle in Nags Head, the Outer Banks' largest tackle shop. Milepost 10. And now, back to Misguided Fishing.
Did I hit the red button?
You did. Tell us
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Sorry I missed dinner.
All right.
Donnie's fault, not mine.
Back with Dickie Harris, captain, owner of the Fintastic.
Yeah. Owner. Not many of those left either.
Owner operators. Not many left.
No, it's a dying art. Who can afford one now?
I know, man. I remember you bought that because that was the spring I worked with Omi. He set the tent up on it and painted it in the boatyard.
Yep.
It's the coolest thing I've ever saw. The guy built a tent around the boat. What I really didn't like, I loved working with him, except he's so particular.
And it was funny how particular he was. I mean, when he came to the fishing end of it, you better have it right. But he was the best at, he called it hojoning. He would make something work that nobody else could make work anymore.
Uh-huh.
And he'd get another 2 years out of it.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Tony this morning, and we were talking about Omi, and that he could take and do something that even a mechanic won't do to a motor and make it work, because that's the way his mind thought. He could think that way, that he could make it work.
See, that's how dumb I was because I left him to go work for Glenn Davenport.
Oh my God! I'm not going to say anything.
Well, Omi told me that Biggs was coming back, and I could work for him until Biggs came, but then
Yeah, Biggs came back. I had Biggs for summer and well, you can't say all summer because he never made it the whole summer. But Biggs was a great mate. He knew how to mate.
Yeah.
He just didn't know if he was going to be there or not. So that doesn't make him a good mate.
You got to be able to.
You got to be dependable.
You got to be able to get there, even if.
Yeah.
We've got to get Marty on here to tell stories about Charlie Griffin and stuff like that. Leaving him in the back of a.
In his 280Z. With his 3-piece luge.
Yeah, that's a great story right there, man.
That was after prom, right?
No, that was after our
East-West
banquet.
Oh, after
East-West
East-West.
banquet. Yeah, he made it home, and I don't know if Charlie lived with him or not, but he was in the back of the car when he got up that morning to go to the boat, and they were pretty hungover. And he rode all the way down there, and he was fishing with Sam Stokes, Charlie was, and he dropped him off parked at the back of this fight lady and left him there. And Sam came down and he had a 3-piece suit, those leisure suits.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever got him up or not, but.
All right. I need an embarrassing story. Something that you've been at it so long. You've got so many accolades. You've done so much cool shit. I need something that's going to be that will probably not make your tombstone.
Well, I think that Marty has told this story so many times. He gets so many requests to tell that story that I'll tell it on here for you guys.
Yeah, we don't get that Marty's crew. We had completely different.
I was fishing with Paul Spencer, and it was my first year with him, but we were killing it. I mean, Paul couldn't make the wrong turn. Everywhere we went, we either caught a marlin or he'd find a piece of float, and we'd be the only ones catch dolphin that day. I mean, that's just the way it was. So, I mean, we didn't go a day that we didn't go. I didn't think we were going to see a blue marlin.
Wow.
We might not get him, but we were going to see one. And so I sat the baits out. Everything was good. We'd been fishing about 15 minutes, and the urge came on. I had to go to the bathroom. It was one of those where I better get there and better
Code
get
Brown.
there quick. Yeah, it was Code Brown, at least Code Brown if it wasn't already. So I got down in the head, and I'd been there about 30 seconds, and I hear this bam, 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 bam on the door. The captain's hollering for you to come out here. You better come fast. So I did the best I could and got up and ran out there, and there was a blue marlin on the teaser. We got the blue marlin on. I got the blue marlin on. Everybody is laughing but the angler, and Paul's laughing. I'm going, what is wrong? And there was about a 10-foot piece of white toilet paper with brown marks on it hanging out my butt all the way back to the bulkhead. It was at least hadn't torn off and it's all brown and everything. And everybody's just laughing at me, But that's a pretty good one there. That's embarrassing.
And you got it.
Yeah, we got the fish. In spite of what I did.
Nobody was willing to get behind you and back you up or anything.
No, they didn't. When I was leading him up, they weren't sure.
Yeah.
That's
The whole thing came out with you.
The whole thing. Well, you didn't have time to hit the button and flush it. I just took off out of there.
I would have done the same thing.
What are you going to do? You thought you had it cleared, and
Yeah.
you had a choo-choo train behind you. That's probably as embarrassing as it gets with people you don't know.
No.
Well, at least you hooked the fish. If you'd have gone out there and missed him, it wouldn't have been. That would have been worse.
That's
Got the fish.
It was funny with Paul too, because might not have been funny with Lee Perry. At one time, Lee Perry one time threw a planer at me. He was mad at me. I don't know what I'd done. Something that had caused it to happen, and he had the planers in, and he threw it. And back in those days, you had a gin pole, which is what they used with the eye on it, and they had a block and tackle, and that's how you lifted the blue marlin up over the side. You jack him all the way up and grab him by the bill and pull him in the boat.
Uh-huh.
And he threw that thing at me, and I dodged it, and it stuck in the gin pole before it fell off. The corner of it did, so I didn't have a perfect relationship with Lee.
I don't think you can do that nowadays.
No, there's no gin pole. Might go through the back window of the bulkhead.
Are there all the old guys that? Oh, you're one of those guys. A little vociferous.
I am
a little vociferous up on the bridge.
I think that's an understatement for some of them. Bob was a good one for letting out a few profanities if you didn't hook the fish.
Who was that?
Bob Sullivan.
Oh, really?
The first week I fished with him, we went down below the tower 2 days in a row. And each day we saw 10 whites and 2 blue marlin, both. and we caught one white and a blue marlin. But I didn't even have an idea how to hook a fish. I had been out with Lee Perry 2 or 3 times the year before filling in, and then I got the job, and all we ever did was king mackerel and bluefish. So I really didn't know what to do when Bob be screaming up there, and I go,
Well, and it wasn't exactly the right stuff. It was hard to hook them then anyway.
Everything
with the
was
wire
12 wire then. The blue marlins weren't as difficult, but back then, because you got a trash can to hit.
Yeah.
You're in pretty good shape there. But the white marlins and the sails would just whip me. We went many a day where I was almost in tears. And then we went down the last day and we brought one in that was a little over 600 pounds. And back then you killed a lot. And I said, "What do you want to do, Bob?" He said, "We want to kill him. We want to kill him." And so we got the gaff in him, and we just had a man and his wife. He didn't have a tuna door, no gin pole, and we couldn't get the fish in the boat. So Bob said, "Well, we'll put a tail rope around him and we'll drag him home." Well, we had 2 flyers in him and the tail rope. And I was laying down up top, and I had no gloves. I had 1 pair of gloves when I got hold of that thing, and I gave them to the man, and we tried to pull. And that bill is so rough, it just chafed my hands terribly to where they were bleeding. And I wanted to put the fish in the boat bad. But anyway, we were going home, and I just happened to pick my head up and look, and I said, "Shit. There ain't no blue marlin back there." And I screamed, I said, "Bob, he's back there floating." Now, how many times would the fish float until he turned that boat all the way around and went back and the peck fin? And so I reached over with the gaff, the flyer again. The head falls off. He backs up to me. I reached over and grabbed the hand gaff and held him till Bob could get back down there. The fish was stone dead. It wasn't like that, but I'm sitting there holding him with a regular hand gaff, and just couldn't believe he stayed up there. We were able to get him in the boat that time. The man had recovered enough, and we got him in the boat. But Bob had accidentally hit him when he was backing up there that time. And we didn't know if he was going to make it to the scale in one whole piece. But
wouldn't have qualified for the big rock, I guess.
No, he would not have. That would have been the end. I just didn't, first year of fishing, I didn't know what I was doing. I still have moments that like that. What happened?
Blame it on somebody else.
You ever have it? You get a moment and you go, what happened?
Yeah.
Every day when I run aground, I do that. What?
So every couple of days.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What happened?
Well, if you don't run aground out there, you're not ever going to run aground anywhere.
I run aground all the time.
Yeah. Well, you're trying to
All
get
of us
to the
do.
fish.
All of us do.
Donnie sees that school of drum, and he's just like, "I think I can get there. I think I can make it."
Well,
He can make
I think
it.
I've gone through 5 props this summer, man.
5?
I own 3, and I just take them in and
Rotate them out.
get them reworked.
I wouldn't think you could hit hard enough to tear up one of those props.
Well, you run a 26-foot boat like a flat skiff.
Yeah.
You're going to chew some stuff up.
Oh, man, there's
metal all over the sound. I found a piece again yesterday.
really.
Yeah, it's just
I'm sure there's not more propellers that have been lost in the
it
sound.
might be a propeller. I took a chunk out yesterday. Little vibration.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work for y'all in the.
It just shatter your teeth.
What else we got? You got a trivia question for us? We'd love to give shit away, especially since we don't pay for it.
A trivia question.
Yeah, give something away. So
You can tell if there's a backstory, tell us the backstory, but just don't tell us the
don't give the answer.
don't give
away.
the answer.
A bag story?
A backstory.
Oh, a backstory to what the story would be, the ending. I gave it away when I told the one about Jack and we didn't finish it.
Yes,
That would have been a good story.
That'd have been a good story. How long?
Trivia.
How long did?
Stop.
We'd have to defer back to the person that was with
Yes,
us.
that's right.
So I don't know. I just trivia.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of a good one.
if you don't, Jack's going to come up with one of his own as usual. Try to make it.
I'm out of them, Donnie.
There's so. As far as a story,
Yeah, just what's the biggest blue marlin you've ever caught? I'm sure that's a lot of numbers in that one.
Yeah, biggest. I mean, you guys, you and me used to do I used to mackerel fish. You used to tuna fish. I mean, all that.
I'll tell you one of the things that, trivia back in the day, which is always back. It's always the story back in the day.
It's all back in the day.
We were
Yes,
back in. We were down in Hatteras, king mackerel fishing. So we were driving back and forth, and he wasn't going to spend the night. He wouldn't stay on the boat and spend the night. He wouldn't, you get down there before daylight and come back at 8 o'clock at night. And one time we had a great day. We had a lot of great days in Hatteras because fish are so big. And we caught 2,400 pounds. And Omi never came off the bridge to help. We had to catch our own bait in a net, catch the menhaden, cut them, and go fish. He'd be running out and I'd be cutting bait. And he had it rigged up so he could work the electromates in the bridge. He'd hit a switch if this one went on. He was working that. I'd pitch him out and he'd let him go. And then
he could let him out from the bridge.
No,
too.
he could not. There was one boat that did that, but we didn't. I let him out, and we caught 24 boxes that day. And I had all the fish gutted and the boat cleaned before I got to the dock. And we went out the next day. I went home. My wife was had a party that she had to be at that was part of back in the day, the galleon. And because she was management. And we went to the party, stayed there till about midnight, took her home and drove back to the boat and got down there about 3 o'clock. And Omi gets there and it's the light southeast, it's not any wind, but it's light southeast. And it gets to be just about daylight and it's time to go. And Omi said, "Where is everybody?" Nobody down there. He said, "Well, we're going to go. Just get ready. We'll go set the net." And, well, we had a hard time getting bait, and nobody was out there. Nobody. Finally, one boat came along. We had enough bait to leave. And we got out there, and we fished half a day and caught one albacore. And we got back in, and we got to talking to everybody. And they said, "You don't leave the dock on a southeaster to go king mackerel fishing." 24 boxes the day before, none the next day. You learn not to go to the
southeast wind is not worth a shit.
No man's it's good for sailing a boat to Elizabeth City. That's all it's good for. Get on a sailboat and go to Elizabeth City. There's a good story that I had been running my first boat, which was the teaser at the time, Bob Hoy's boat. And he really didn't want me to commercial fish it, which I understood. So I got on the Temptation and was going to run the boat, and Steve was going to mate for me, the captain, Steve Daniels. And his nickname's Captain Go-Go, if that tells you anything. So we were down there. We went down king mackerel fishing. And it was good king mackerel fishing, but that day we were just scrapping. And Nevin, nobody went tuna fishing in late November or in November. It was over with. You just put up the rigs and went king mackerel fishing. So he said the yellowfins were eating him up there. So we picked everything up and ran to the point, and we didn't have enough space for everything we caught that day. And we switched positions because it was a twin screw boat, and I'd never run a twin screw boat. And we were catching fish, but it would work better being Steve knew the boat, and he was better at it much better than I was. So I got down there, and we had over 2,000 pounds of yellowfin and 1,600 pounds of big eyes. And we didn't even know what you're supposed to do with the big eyes. I just ripped them just like the other ones, gutted them, brought them in. He had a fish well. We had them shoved down in the fish well and had tunas laying all over the deck. And we got in there, and it was funny. We got as much for the yellowfins as we did the big eyes, which was funny. And that was
before sushi.
Yeah,
that was before the sushi craze.
And then they got the buyer down there that was, and everybody was getting ripped off. There's a boat that would come in, the fish laying on the deck, a big eye laying on the deck, and he got $22 a pound for him. You cleaned yours out great, made it perfect, iced down everything, and you got $4. And you're going, they didn't even ice him down. So you couldn't figure that out. That's the big thing. Fish buying is you can never figure out. You just about the time you thought there was, all right, they ain't gonna be $1 today. They'd be $2.50 for a yellowfin. But there's a lot of good fish stories. A lot of good. Back with Paul when I was wire. Everything was still wire. Mm-hmm. Number 10 wire to catch 15 white marlin, 2 wahoos, and a box full of dolphin in a day.
So y'all used wire for leader.
Everything was
everybody.
Wire,
I mean, it's changed so much now. Guys are using wind.
Yeah.
What do y'all use for wind on leader?
Well, for what?
I mean,
Tuna fishing, I use
Tuna fishing 100-pound.
okay, and you were using 15 or
12 wire.
12 wire.
12 wire to catch a white marlin. You wouldn't even get a bite on it now. that was when fishing was great. I mean, we have the fishing that they have up north now. You know, those guys, I'm talking about up north off of Massachusetts. You know, I saw a boat yesterday that had a picture that had a ton of them, but they're coming our way now with that wind.
We talk about it in our business too, man. We talk about it on the show. Just everything has changed. Everything has moved north, and
Well, and there's so much pressure on them.
there's a lot of guys.
You can tell me that, like I said, there can be the same number of fish there that there were 20 years ago, but there's 10 times more boats.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, offshore and inshore.
Yeah.
The whole.
And everybody's a guide inshore. You've got a lot of competition.
Look right over there. He wants to be a guide. I'm not. He's got his own boat to run.
I don't want to be a guide.
He's got his own boat to run, but he still wants to run my boat.
I just told Donnie this time of year I'd run his boat for him when he's at the firehouse.
There you go. Wait a second, you know.
I had a guy run my boat, and
It just doesn't work.
I was just a nervous wreck the whole time, man.
I've never let
Yeah,
it.
but you wouldn't be nervous about me running it.
I was a nervous wreck the whole time. I would probably always be a nervous wreck, especially if Jack would get on there talking and not pay attention and run around.
Omi, when my son was playing baseball, and we had all those summer games to go to, and if they were in the playoffs and stuff, to go to the states, and Omi would run the boat. Well, I thought he can run it every year. Well, he let his license expire, so the next year he couldn't run it, and I was going, oh, who the hell am I going to get to run it? And actually, Bo Dobson ran it, and he did a great job. He only had to run it one day, but that's the only people that have ever run my boat besides me.
And you still be.
Well,
I mean, think about it all day long.
Yeah.
I did. I thought all day long. I'd call and check on it. You know.
Oh, you
like
can't
a
help
parent.
it. Well, I didn't with Omi.
Well, you probably don't.
It was his boat,
Yeah.
you know, so it wasn't anything to worry about there. He could fix
You
it.
knew he could fix them better than you could anyway.
Way better than I could. He forgot more than I know. And you just can't gain that knowledge that when you had that kind of brain that thought that way.
All right. The way this works is we give away free shit on here. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
Which is why I said I need you to give me.
Dickie, we need a question.
Oh, you want a question?
Yeah. What's the biggest, most something? But don't give away the answer. I got to give something away.
Well, what's the second biggest marlin ever brought into Oregon Inlet?
That's a good question.
Is that yours?
No, it did. I didn't break the mark, the 1,000-pound mark. Mine was 936. But yeah, what's the second biggest blue marlin ever brought in? And there's a current captain.
Okay.
That'll give you a hint.
Don't give me more hints.
I don't know the answer to that, do you?
No, I don't. I didn't know the answer last week, and it
Don't
took
tell
about
us.
30 seconds for somebody to get it right.
Somebody get the fly fishing answer?
Lots of them.
They must have had the issue.
Yeah, Google.
Ah,
Yeah, lots. I think it was like 30 seconds.
This would be a hard one to Google.
All right. Second biggest marlin ever weighed at Oregon Inlet Fishing Center.
yeah, caught by a charter boat captain.
Caught by a charter boat captain, still active. Dickie's hint. Send me the answer. Win something cool from TWs. You have another question? Because I can get another giveaway.
Actually, they waited at Pirates Cove. It was during the tournament, but it was one of they had to go weigh it there.
All right.
But it's still just say the second largest.
Came
ever.
through the inlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oregon Inlet Fish.
Yeah. Oregon Inlet.
All right. You got anything else for Dickie? Want to tell him anything else? You want to tell a story? You want to bang on your chest at all?
No, I don't have much to bang on. We haven't been fishing here much lately. It's been slow.
I bang on mine all the time. It's gotten hollow. It's really hollow now.
No, man. People that don't know you've never seen you don't understand. Maybe don't get this. We're really lucky to have a guy
No.
Seriously, dude. Been doing it as long as you. That come on here and there's only a handful of y'all left.
I've made as many mistakes as anybody could make.
Yeah, but you can.
But you try to learn from them.
Try to, but we don't always, right?
No, you do it over again.
who's down there that's been there longer than you now?
Tony.
Offshore?
Yeah, but Tony's
Tony.
Tony's inshore.
Tony?
Offshore, nobody.
Nobody. No,
Yeah.
I've got that now. You can say Will on the Sinbad, but he's inshore. Dean Johnson's inshore. They were all there, but I eclipsed them, which is not a good thing. I was looking, I got a class reunion coming up, the 50th, and I talked to some of the people that are going, and I've retired.
There's no retirement.
Nobody retires from the fishing
No, you
business.
don't retire, man. You just you die, or you just can't climb the bridge anymore.
You just can't get there.
You never that bend in the pole never gets old though.
It does not.
You know,
No,
I
that's the
get
thing.
excited on the first tuna bite of the day, and I still get excited when a sailfish comes on the bait.
I get
I
excited.
just love it.
Dude, I get excited catching croakers. I mean, I do.
If they're biting, I want to catch it.
Exactly. That's why we go.
Yep.
Anyway, Captain Dickie Harris, fantastic.
Aficionado.
Numbnut, Captain Numbnuts. Donnie D, DOA.
They were that day.
Oh, that's a good story. It's going to bust out one day.
No, it's not.
All right, check us out, Misguided Fishing, Spotify, YouTube.
Apple Podcasts.
There you go.
Red button.
Red button. Misguided Fishing has been brought to you by TW's Bait and Tackle, Nag's Head. Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll see you next time.